bleeding story. 4-1 to the Arsenal. We can't stop bleeding winning, can we? Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. First half wasn't exceptional. Got the job done. You know, the pressure, I suppose, was on Arsenal after the Liverpool got absolutely destroyed by Man City. And it was a big statement by Man City. So the pressure was on Arsenal, and fair play to them. They done it. You know what I mean? Got the result. Made it look easy. I wasn't panicking really at all through the game. Very comfortable victory. Leeds are in the position they're in, I suppose, because, you know, they're not really getting goals and they're not really a threat. But look, enough about Leeds. This is about Arsenal. It's a big turning point, especially after the international break. I was nervous. Could there be a banana skin there? As I says, Man City battering Liverpool. You know, what sort of Arsenal are going to turn up today? But we keep turning up, you know. I was negative at the start of the season, forced to put my hand up. Clown Dell was there. But look, no one expected this from Arsenal. I was in getting the old ears lowered earlier on, and I was talking to the barber, and he's a Man United fan, and he was there saying no one was expecting this. You know, we keep winning. We keep doing the job. We look brilliant. Trossard today, for me, was absolutely unbelievable for the setting up the goal. Martinelli putting shifts in. They're all coming together. You know, all coming together at the right time. And for me, one of the biggest players to start bouncing, and I was delighted he was given the penalty, was Jesus. We need him for these last 9 games or whatever it is now left. He's huge. Them 2 goals that he got today is going to bang his confidence. He is going to be rocking for this. I just threw the stream link into the thing. Come on in, have your say. Have your say. We have a few of the we have a regular senior analyst is in here, and a new guy from across the pond, as I say. I'm going to jump them in here. Here's the senior guy, as usual, Manny. How are you doing, brother?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. First of all, let me start by wishing all of our Catholic fans across the world, whoever's tuning in, a very happy Palm Sunday tomorrow. Ave Maria, gracia plena, Dominus tecum benedicta tu.
Oh, very good. Manny, you always come with gifts, brother.
I try. I'm not the Easter Bunny. I'm not Father Christmas, but I try. Heck, I'm not even a father yet. And secondly, I think we can safely say that 4-1 to the Arsenal is now almost a new scoreline. But it was in every way a game of 2 halves, if you will, because once again, we were caught cold, just like we were against Bournemouth. As I said in the chat, we are still in charge. Our destiny is still in our hands. But, this is an example of how we took our opportunities and we rode our luck at times. And we also need to make, and I think we're going to come to what Darren Sullivan is saying. It's a segue to what I'm about to say. We saw 2 4-1 results today. One by Manchester City and one by us. Now, in the early kickoff today, which I was watching, and I was trying to be in the company of Stephen Stubbs, aka the Statman. Shout out to him, by the way. I was there throughout the entire watch along. And shout out as well to Glasgow Red, John Moore, aka the cheating so-and-so, as they like to call him. Big up to them both. I've been on there. I've been on the Q&A with them a couple of times. Really lovely people, soul to the earth guys. John Moore is a Northern Irish guy from Belfast, but still great company anyway. Now, when Mohamed Salah scored, I was thinking that City should deservedly lose because once again, Pep Guardiola was tinkering horribly with his defense. The idea of having John Stones and Nathan Ake centre-backs starting as full-backs, it was utterly absurd. And then, of course, the BBC wrote a headline about how John Stones was effectively playing a sort of a Zinchenko-type role today on the right, sort of banging in some crosses and coming into the midfield. And at times, that left them short at the back. And there were opportunities that Liverpool had to try to take advantage of that shoddy defensive play, but they just weren't able to do it. And I think a pivotal moment was when Jackie Grealish, who is, of course, persona non grata to many Irishmen like yourself, Del, prevented a second Liverpool goal. And not long afterwards, Julian Alvarez equalised. And then, of course, in the second half, they turned on the style. They completely ripped Virgil van Dijk and his back four to shreds, and they ended up winning. And for what it's worth, Liverpool are still a team that's still very much in the race for the top 4 spot, albeit I believe Brighton have a couple of games in hand on them, but Liverpool also have a few games in hand on Tottenham, so it is still early days, and I think they can still sneak a Champions League spot, whereas, as Mr. Sullivan rightly said, Leeds are more or less relegation fodder. And you said it yourself, the reason why Leeds are in the position they are is because of today. They just weren't able to take advantage of the chances they had. Ramsdale made a few decent blocks and certainly made Bees a little bit of humble pie, but I think on a couple of them they were offside anyway, and they were mostly routine saves, in my opinion, that any goalkeeper would be trusted to make. I'm not being harsh; I'm calling it as I see it.
Yeah.
And I think after that penalty, which wasn't the best penalty, but a penalty nonetheless, and the goalkeeper went the wrong way, it reminded me, and I think a lot of our English friends will agree, a lot of David Beckham's penalty against Argentina in Sapporo in 2002. I mean, it was sweet revenge, but what are you doing placing it in the corner? You don't expect the goalkeeper to dive every time in the middle. Put it in the corner, mate. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Jesus got the goal he needed. And then in the second half, we just completely turned it on. Ben White and then Jesus. I think the headlines should be, of course, Jesus coming back before Easter. He is resurrected, and we are happy. But my man of the match, a surprising choice, and I'm going to be very brief, and I'm going to go to TJ right now, would be Ben White.
Wow.
White is one of those people who probably will be remembered as someone who's been playing in the wrong position all his life, and maybe now that he's found the niche as a right back, he's sort of settled down a little bit. Not only for the goal and also for his overlapping, but also for the way he was able to keep the likes of Junior Firpo, Crescencio Somerville, and also Aronson quiet down their left side, which was our right side. He was able to sort of help snuff out their attacks. And in fact, when they scored the goal, it was basically through the center, through an unfortunate deflection of Alexander Zinchenko. But the way Ben White overlaps so beautifully and supports Saka, the way he's able to, the way he's completely improved as a defender and grown leaps and bounds, he is everything that Kieran Tierney is and Alexander Zinchenko sadly isn't. And yet, I think it's clear that Tierney's fitness issues will mean that he might not really get too many more minutes because Arteta just doesn't trust him to be fit, which is a shame. Anyone who saw Scotland beat Spain and that beautiful run where he skinned Real Madrid's Dani Carvajal will testify to just how wonderful a left back he is. But I'm glad that Ben White really is continuing to do really well. And I think he could very well be one of our players of the season if, and that's a big if, we do go on to win. I mean, regardless, he should be one of our players of the season anyway, because he started horribly, but he's grown brilliantly into the role. And it's really good to see. In defense, he was also able to shut out a few set pieces and corners. Did make a few needless fouls, but I suppose you had to sort of make those fouls to stop the team from going forward. They weren't really dirty in any sense of the word. Now, finally, was the penalty for Jesus a little bit soft? In some ways, yes, but Luke Ayling should have known better than to try to aim his foot at Gabriel Jesus' leg. And that is an example of a lack of footballing intelligence, which will in many ways cost you. I get a lot of people now saying that penalty was a disgrace. It should never have been given. Arsenal are cheating as always. Now, I'm one to be fair-minded. I always am fair-minded. I'm never partisan. But I will say that that was a poor example of a lack of footballing intelligence. And although it might not have necessarily sent Jesus tumbling that hard, it was a poor contact and a penalty deserved to be given. Luke Ayling should have known better. And it did settle us down. We need to exercise some caution because the nature of City's win over a much better Liverpool team will tell us that this title race is far from over. We've got to play City at the Etihad. Before that, our next game will be Liverpool at Anfield. They will be smarting from this, and Jurgen Klopp will expect the team to put up a response at Anfield in front of their fans. But for now, I'm happy with a 4-1. But again, we must be calm. And I'm going to say now, Del Boy, do not call yourself a clown just yet, mate. The season if Arsenal win the league, I will call myself a clown, and I will everyone will have license to call ourselves a clown and say, you know what, we're basically in the mud. We're happy with the win, and Arteta deserves the credit he can get, as well as some of the players whom we've slated. But for now, eyes on the next match. Not too far ahead. The further ahead you look, the more easily you'll miss the stone that's just underneath you and you'll trip and fall. Let's never forget that.
Yeah, no, exactly. You look at Manny, like, I suppose, look, I'll get into TJ because you're sitting there a bit, and I want to come back on one or two of the Ben White things and stuff that you were saying, because very good points. Like, TJ, mate, how are you keeping, brother? Are you all right?
I'm great. It's good to see you, Doughboy. Good to have you back.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were not swallowed by the streets out there in Ireland during your birthday.
Yeah.
Big up Kyle Walsh for looking out for you every single time. Those pictures were hilarious. But getting to the game, my man of the match has to be Jesus, but obviously Ben White has shown that I believe he's probably one of the most underrated defenders in the league, let alone the world. At the fullback position, he has absolutely blossomed, and it's been a treat to see. And you have to give Mikel Arteta his flowers for having the wherewithal to put him in that position. Especially with Tomiyasu out, that position's looking a little shaky, looking like we don't have much depth there. But this guy has come out and not only been very solid defensively, but contributed offensively. And I've said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. If your defense is contributing offensively, then you don't have many defensive problems. And against teams like Leeds and against teams like Crystal Palace, these are the kind of performances that you need out of your defense in order to bring in these 3 or 4 goal difference victories. Big up, Jaminho. Thank you so much, my man. So, yeah, I mean, I couldn't be happier. Getting back to Gabriel Jesus, this is what we were missing, everybody. All you Eddie and Kedia inners, I hope you watched, and I hope you took notes. That is a striker, everybody. That is a striker. I'm looking right into the camera. That is a striker, okay? I'm done. I'm done with these Eddie and Kedia inners, and that's all I'm going to say on that. Gabby Jesus is the striker that this team needed. He provides the link-up play. He can handle the ball in an absolute phone booth. I mean, come on. I mean, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We were awful in that first half, but after Ailing screwed up, the game was over. We absolutely rattled them after we scored that PK. It was over, and then we were cooking them the rest of the half. Obviously, it kind of ebbed and flowed during the second half. We got our goals. That was exactly the performance in the second half that we were expecting. So I can't say enough good things about our front line. There really isn't much bad to say, other than the certain members of our back lines brains left their skulls during that Leeds goal. I don't know what that was. Holding, Zinchenko, Xhaka, they all got spun. So, if we turn in stuff like that against Man City, we are going to have problems. If we turn stuff in like that against Liverpool, we are going to have problems. Keep in mind, we are away at Etihad. We are away at Anfield.
Yeah.
The next 2 games will determine if we lift that trophy.
Yeah, 100%. Are you confident?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident.
With the Liverpool game,
I think if we get a draw out of that, we need a draw minimum out of that. I don't expect us to win at Anfield just because of past performances. But this is a new Arsenal team, and I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they prove me wrong.
Like TJ, with that, I'm always like that. Exactly, when we go to Anfield, the Etihad, Old Trafford, I'm always sort of negative. I'm there. I don't feel comfortable going in. Yeah, we're going to rock this. We're going to absolutely batter them. I never feel that way. But I just want to highlight Connor's comment here. We'll beat Liverpool. They'll be knackered, and I've never been more confident of beating them. I wouldn't say confident.
Big up, Connor.
Yeah, big up, mate. But I'm confident we won't lose. you know,
I think you and I are on the same page for sure.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
it's past trauma, right? We've seen it
Yeah.
so many times over the last 10, 11 years. It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I'm going to bring in me bouncer. What's the bleeding
Yes!
story?
The
You're on mute
6'3"
there, man.
Wexford Express.
What is the crack, lads? You're all well. All the legends in the house. You're all well.
Come here.
You're lucky you're still alive, my friend. And the
Here, mate.
the camera was on you in Shelbourne because that's the undercover detectives from Wexford here, keeping a close eye on you. Because the damage that was left here in this town is unforgivable.
Come here. I'm just sort of elaborating what he's saying. I went to Shelbourne versus Derry City last night. I've done a vlog, so check it out after this stream or whatever. It's very funny, but they had me on Irish television as well, and there was some fella just standing in front of me with a fucking camera, and I was there, hey, piss off, will you? I'm trying to enjoy the game, but I think it was Kyle Walsh and his cronies who are keeping the eye on me.
We have to keep an eye on you then, boy. We have to keep an eye on you, son.
Come here, mate. What did you make of the game? Did you see it? What are you thinking?
I think everybody's getting carried away. Leeds United, they're absolute fucking muck. Dire. And they're going down into the championship fairly lively there, boy. They're not good. But on saying all that there, boy, all we can do is beat what's in front of us. And we got our 3 points. We got a good score line. Disappointed that we conceded late, but however, we march on into the next games, but we have bigger games ahead of us. And people saying about being confident, beating Liverpool and beating this team and that team, all I say is you can never be too confident. But so far, so good. Big up to the main. They're getting their 3 points. They're doing well, there, boy. Let's lift this Premier League for the first time in 19 years. Then I'd be a very happy man.
Yeah, and come here, Kyle. I just want to sort of touch on the whole, like Manny sort of started it off, and I want to sort of elaborate on it. And I know you're probably going to say, Del, boy, you're fucking still drunk. But I'm going to give him credit. I have to give him credit, and it's Ben White. You know what I mean? He's been playing well, and I thought he played brilliant today. He was fucking really good today, you know, and I have to give him credit. I didn't understand when Ben White was playing in right back position, and he was bossing it. He was doing well, and then he changed and he put Tomiyasu in and said, "I'm there. What are you doing? It's working. Leave it alone." You know what I mean? And he changed it. Like, what are you making of Ben White, Kyle?
Yeah, Ben White has been very, very good. A lot of players have actually proved me wrong this season, including the likes of Shakins and Odegaard and players like that. I don't know what's going on. It's a whole kind of different mentality to all the players. Ben White, let's not be under any illusion. He's after being absolutely magnificent, Ben White, as right back. Possibly the best right back in the country as we speak. He's playing very well. Fair play to him. I'm delighted to see it happening. But let's not get carried away to be lift up the silverware. And a couple of things there, Del Boy, coming off the topic there for a minute, now that I'm on the screen. I'd just like to say a big up to one of my favourite all-time footballers that ever played for Arsenal Football Club. And I think it's a disgrace that his name was never mentioned among the best of the best. Lord rest David Rocastle, Rocky, 22 years, 31st of March, Lord of mercy on him. He was taken way too early, and the man was an absolute legend. And as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, he's an idol to me. When I started supporting Arsenal in 1987, David Rocastle would have been possibly my first ever true Arsenal hero for me. Before Ian Rice, before Tony Adams, before Thierry Henry and Bergkamp and so forth, that Rocky Rocastle to me was just a pure legend. Lord of mercy on him. And secondly, what the fuck is David Seaman talking about? Another absolute prick coming out and he's saying, bigging up Odegaard, that he's every bit as good as Dennis Bergkamp. Now, then why? I'm sick today of the Arsenal fan base, but I'm worse off over the so-called legends of this club. David Seaman came out and said Odegaard is every bit as good as Dennis Bergkamp. Him, Martin Keown, Ian Rice, Ray Parler, Alan Smith, fuck off. Crowd of fucking assholes. Talking shit. Odegaard wouldn't be fit to polish Dennis Bergkamp's fucking boots. Now it might be mentioned the same brackets. So that's pissing me off there, boy. But I just like to get those two things off my chest. And everybody calm down, relax. It was a bad Leeds United team that we bet today. Bigger games ahead, there, boy. The test is yet to come.
Yeah, good man, mate. No, and here I second that about Rocky. Absolute legend of the club, you know, and I think the club should be doing a bit more, to be honest with you, about him. But Darren, you're in the house. What's the story, brother? Hope you're well. We are the Arsenal. What did you make of that today?
Yeah, good. First half was a disgrace. Wasn't particularly happy with Arteta putting Saka on the bench. This is a bloke who's just scored a worldie against Ukraine, who are a well-respected international outfit, and he goes and drops him. Now, whether he's got a little knock or whatever, maybe we don't see these players. And I always say this with Arteta, as we're not there with the team. You know, if they've got little bits and pieces physically going on, maybe a little virus or something, fair enough. But I hope he hasn't so-called rested him, because you don't rest a player when they're banging in goals like he banged in against Ukraine. So I weren't happy with that. The first half performance was an utter disgrace. Maybe some of that is the international game. I mean, I watched the City and Liverpool game, most of it today, and I thought that in the first half, both teams just looked a bit leg weary. And I think what it is when they go and play these international games, it's a different mentality. It's a bit slower. And then they come back into the Premier League and they're sort of slow and they're still in that internet. They're getting out of the cut. They're trying to get used to the speed of the Premier League again. So I think we were a little bit like that in the first half, maybe. But we didn't have any attacking threat in the first half, nothing. And then I agree with Manny 100%. My man in the match would be Ben White. He has had a blinder. He got that goal right at the start of the second half. We really needed an early goal because it was almost like we were level. Because let's be honest, that was never a penalty. The referee must be from Highbury and Islington. I was watching the replays and it was a dive. What is going on? You know? So we really needed an early goal. Ben White gave us that early goal, and then we went on from there and we looked good again, like what we've been looking all this season. But let's not get carried away. Leeds will go down. They had no attacking threat. They got a player called Harrison that looks good. I've watched him in other games. I'm thought, oh, he looks a good player. But other than that, he was poor. Rob Holding got done by Aradale in the second half. Done. Rob Holding was doing all this with his arms, going, oh, I'm not going to touch him. I'm not going to touch him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If Rob Holding does that next week at Anfield against Darwin Núñez, who's a big lump, Rob Holding will lose us the Premier League.
Oh,
let that sink in. Rob Holding will lose us the Premier League.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I'll tell you one thing, who's not going to lose is the Premier League. It's this fella, and he's back in action. He's back up.
He's back from his...
How are you doing, Warren? What's the story, mate?
No, I'm good, thanks. Happy about the result. Not too happy about the performance, but I agree with everything that Darren just said. I'm a bit confused as to why Rob Holding is playing centre-back when we had Kieran Tierney in the week putting in a barnstorming performance at centre-half for Scotland against one of the best international teams in the world. What's that all about? To me, it's clear as day that this manager don't like him and should let him out. He should let, for the sake of his career, just let him go. I just do not understand it. It's absolute insanity. But
Like, Warden, what other position can Tierney play? Like, where do you think he can fit him? Because, like, you know, with Zinchenko, it's set in stone. Arteta is not going to change what he's doing with Zinchenko and pulling him into the middle and stuff like that.
Well,
Do you think that Tierney can play along the back three?
we could play, yeah, because he does it for Scotland. He plays in the three at the back for the Scottish national team.
Mm.
So I don't understand why he's not playing him ahead of Holding. I mean, if he can't get in this team in front of Rob Holding, then you've got to ask serious questions. I reckon the two of them have had a ruck. I honestly do, because he had this. What he does is it's a pattern of behaviour with Arteta and players he doesn't like. He isolates them to the bench or just doesn't put them in the squad at all, and then just uses them infrequently. He did it with Pepe. He did it with Aubameyang. He's now doing it with Tierney, and all of those players he had a ruck with. So I reckon this is what it's all about, and they should just let him go. And when he does go, he will come back to the Emirates and he will absolutely destroy us.
Yeah.
Because he's quality, and he will absolutely rip us to pieces. Because he's going to a big club with players.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle. There, what were you going to say?
Well, I just had to say something there. There's a friend of mine here that's subscribed to me that sees all the shows and all. He just had to text him there. Odegaard, what are you talking about, Kyle? Odegaard is every bit as good as Bergkamp. And wait there now when I fucking say something. I need to get this off my chest there. He's looking at this now. He knows me personally. I'm going to a fucking party later on tonight at 8 o'clock there in the Bailey. He's going to it. I'm going to fucking see you die there tonight, you fucking absolute fucking prick. How the fuck can you say that to me? You fucking dickhead. I'll see you tonight down at the party, you fucking prick, you. Fucking Odegaard better than fucking Bergkamp. Go fuck yourself. Fuck off the fucking stage. Don't be bothered looking at me. Fucking wine. He's that winding me up now, that boy.
Carl,
you say that fucking dickhead,
mate. Absolute facts. But Del Boy, I wanted to say something to you. I don't know if you saw that message I sent you about a certain fella's income from the FII.
Yeah. I know, yeah. And what Warren is talking about, I'm going doing a show probably this week at some stage, so please do check it out. And it's about the FAI and how they've destroyed Irish football. So I'm going after him. I'm going after him like Kyle Walsh is going after his friend there, you know. But yeah, it's an absolute joke, Warren. Absolute disgrace.
The FAI are absolute corrupt organisation, there, boys. We know all about the FAI and John Delaney and all those fucking pricks.
Yeah, 100%. Just all I'll say to people is just tune in, because you haven't seen a Del Boy meltdown in a while. I guarantee you're going to see one there, because I get worked up over stuff like this. You know what I mean? But anyway, look, we're going to calm down a minute, cool the jets. We're not going to beat the shit out of anyone yet. We're going to relax. We're going to go to TJ.
A little highlight, just a little snippet, right?
That's all. Yeah.
I'm going to reveal minimum this fella had in 15 years of employment at the FAI was €9.5 million.
Jesus.
9.5 million. And he was on twice the salary of what the Irish Prime Minister was.
Yeah. This is what it is.
Over here in Ireland, we have the most corrupt organisations in the fucking world of this little small nation of ours. We're a fucking joke of a country with a crowd of fucking pricks in the country. Absolute assholes.
Oh, stop. Right, come here. We're going to go back to the game. We could go on here all night. But come here. I just want to say to TJ there about Jesus. Did you see his was the second goal, not the penalty, his other second goal? And Trossard, for me, was absolutely very brilliant today. Like his cross for that goal, he was getting back as well. He was helping out every position. What did you make of Trossard and Jesus, their chemistry coming together at the right time of the season for us?
I said it right when I first started doing YouTube. It was right after I think it was after we won. We won. I don't remember what game it was, but I started getting really, really gassed about the prospect of Trossard, Jesus, and Saka up front. Obviously, Saka was rested today, which I personally don't have a problem with, but me and Darren, Darren, you and I can argue about that in the Instagram chat if you want. But the link up play from the entire midfield today was class. I really can't say anything bad about any of the midfielders except for, Xhaka's brain leaving his head on the Leeds goal. But Xhaka also had an incredible goal, great assist from Odegaard. He's not as good as Bergkamp. Whoever says that doesn't have a brain. So, it is what it is. But Trossard, is, like I said, has been the catalyst for this entire run that we are on this year. If we did not have Trossard on this team, Leandro Trossard, the Belgian sensation, we would not be in first place, let alone second place, let alone first. He has his play, his explosiveness, the way that he can, again, handle the ball inside of a phone booth. He has shooting boots. He can see the pass. He is just, he was an absolute steal. And he fell into our laps. Like, I can't even say, hey, Edu, great job. He fell into our laps, guys. We were going to have Mudryk, and then we got this guy.
3 players. That's for me, it's Zinchenko, Jesus, and Trossard.
Yeah. I mean, this is the difference between this year and last year. Do I think we can win it? Ask me in 2 weeks. Ask me in 2 weeks. But I love Leandro Trossard. I've been saying it ever since he came into the team. He has been the spark that this team needed, especially with the injuries that we've had. So love that guy.
Yeah, Manny, what do you make of Trossard and his sort of impact since he has come in? He's exactly what we needed.
TJ's just said it. He's a steal. He came to us at the right possible time, and his impact on the team has been absolutely wonderful. I think it's fair to say right now that given the fact that there is competition now between Jesus, Martinelli, Saka, and now Trossard as to who will end up starting every single week, it can only be a good thing. And people are talking about the possibility of Trossard replacing Jesus. I still think it's fair to say I do respect TJ's observation that Jesus should be man of the match. But here's the thing, though. In the first half, we can all agree that it was a match of 2 halves and that we weren't at the races until the penalty. I think it's fair to say that Jesus as well, in the appearances since he's come back prior to today, he hasn't looked like discovering his scoring touch at all. And today also, he just wasn't quite able to get get his act together until the penalty. And then, of course, in the second half, when he got his chance on the plate, he was able to oblige quite well. But Trossard has so far managed to create a wonderful impact as a winger and also a false 9. So he gives us so many more options. Now, I'm not a big fan of some of Mikel Arteta's tactics, whether it's the use of that ridiculous inverted left-back system or having such a high-line defence, which has been dismantled before this season by the likes of United at Old Trafford and City at the Emirates, and which could very well be dismantled again if we're not careful. And I also... I have to say that the use of a false 9, if we have to use a false 9, Trossard is that perfect person. He runs well and he has a good shot on him. And certainly his impact has been really wonderful. I wouldn't go so far to make him my man of the match necessarily, because, again, in that particular first half, I think he was, I wouldn't necessarily say he was struggling, but he didn't really have that much of an impact. And certainly the 5-man Leeds defense seemed to have a bit of a measure of most of our attacking play for the most part. Illan Melia didn't even hardly have to make a save, whereas Ramsdale was a lot more troubled. But certainly Trossard has given us so many more options, and there will be some interesting competition for places. Do we continue with this idea of starting both Jesus and Trossard in the same team? I don't think so. And I think Darren will definitely agree with me on this. He was fuming, I can tell you right now, in the Instagram chat about having Saka being rested. Personally, I didn't mind it too much because it means that he'll be fresh for Liverpool, and that's perfectly okay by me. And Leeds, of course, being relegation fodder, it was just a matter of time, probably you could say, after we weathered their storm, that we would come into our own and basically crack at their resistance, and we did that. So, as far as I'm concerned, Martinelli and Saka have got to start on the wings. So it will be between Jesus and Trossard to start. I would probably at least marginally prefer to see Jesus starting as the main striker. But if Trossard has to come on for Jesus later on in the game to sort of, relieve him and possibly stick into that false nine, as it were, or even go onto the left with Martinelli coming into the centre, then you can see the possibilities coming in. And so because of that, of his impact and also the options that he gives us, Trossard has literally been our best buy for a long time. I can't even remember when Edu actually made a decent buy. I mean, I was raving about Jorginho, but since then he's shown a few of his limitations. And as for poor Kivior, if he ever gets a game, it'll probably be. I don't see him getting a game this season with us being out of all three cups, unless we are in a desperate situation with regard to injuries. But Trossard's impact, absolutely perfect. And he will go down as the person who made an impact on our championship triumph, just like Eric Cantona did for Manchester United in 1992-93. I mean, I don't want to compare the two, but you can see where I'm getting at.
Yeah. I want to just sort of come back to that, what you were saying about Darren there, because I just want to go to Kyle first. Unique is just after asking the question there, and I want Kyle to answer. Big up, Unique, by the way. Cheers, pal. I am gutted that we drew against teams like Southampton and Brentford and lost to teams like Everton. We would have been further ahead on points. What do you think? Kyle, what are you saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, especially that result against Everton. That was shocking. But what can you do there, boy? It is what it is, man. We're doing very well for now. Obviously, we would have won those games instead of drawing and losing. The league title will be over by now, Del Boy. We'll be after lifting the title. It'll be over. But it didn't work out that way, unfortunately. All we can do now is put things right, go on, beat Liverpool next week, and continue this good, rich vein of form, and go on and win the league title. You can't be looking back. You have to look forward. It is what it is. We have to keep swinging punches and keep moving forward, there, boy, and lift up this league title once and for all. And if we don't lift up the league this year, there's going to be hell to pay.
I think fucking Del Boy Gunner TV will disappear off the fucking internet waves if we don't do anything, because I will be not too happy, just put it that way. I wanted Darren just touching on what Manny was saying there about Saka. I didn't see it myself.
Del Boy, I just like they come in there. Sorry, Del Boy, I just want to say this to you. I just want to apologise there. I've the party here, Del Boy, and I may drive out to Katini there to collect the daughter there now, Del Boy, because I have to get to Waterford and get back, and then I may go see this fucking clown that said about Odegaard and Burkamp, because I don't want my daughter to be in the same proximity when I see that fucking clown, because there's going to be words exchanged. Well, come on then, hey, big up to you all. You're all legends and the chat. I'll catch you again. Del Boy, I'll give you an old choke there tomorrow, man. I may go on, you know yourself, daddy duties.
Of course. Big up, Kyle. Please.
Big up, Kyle.
And cheers, there might be a drop of blood in Enniscorthy tonight, Del Boy, but it is what it is.
And Kyle, once again, happy Palm Sunday to you and your family. Bless you all.
Manny, thank you very much, sir. But it might not be a good Sunday after tonight. Good luck.
Good man, Kyle. Please do check out his channel. Please do. Darren, I was just saying there anyway, just about Saka. Like, look, I thought England's the 2 games he played for England, I don't know how many minutes he played, and look, we were at Leeds, it should have been comfortable enough. Like, I was thinking, yeah, fuck it, rest him. Like, well, not rest him, but like, don't start him and leave him on the bench. What are you saying? Like, what's your sort of argument to that?
Right. So we've got Saka, who is, in my opinion, at the moment, as things stand, the only player that can get near him for Player of the Year in the Premier League is probably Haaland for his goals and the prolific goals he scored. So we've got this gem that basically needs shining as much as possible. Now, at the moment, he's on the edge of being world class. So I'm entitled to say that I think he should be played in every game, because you get all different levels of strength in a human body, and we've all seen it over the years. You get players that can't play 38 games a season. They're going to need 5 or 6 games where they get rested. Rocky Rocastle was ever present in a season for Arsenal, right? Because he was a strong lad. And I remember watching him on the terraces in 86, 87, just when he was emerging. He was fucking hard as nails. He used to embarrass left backs. Embarrass them. He was on the right wing. He would juggle the ball around them all. He was that good, and he was strong. George Graham used to say that Rocastle, Davis and Thomas, it was like having 3 heavyweight boxers coming in for training. Their physique was there. Do you know what I mean? And Saka's not a wimp. He gets kicked to fuck in every game. He gets up. He's like a jack in a box. You push him down, and then he goes, and he comes back up again. He has got, as far as I'm concerned, he's got the stamina, he's got the bottle to get kicked all over the place and just get up and carry on. Now, not everybody's got that. Some players are going to get kicked up. Like Robert Perez, for example. Different player, more skillful, different skills than Saka, but less durable, right? We'll get kicked. We'll need a rest. Not Saka. Play him. Because the more you play him, the better he gets. And the more the opposition are going to be beaten in the tunnel when they see him lining up at the start of a game. Leeds would have gone in today to that game thinking, oh, good, there's no Saka today. We've got half a chance. One of their gems, one of their star players. Because it's not just a Saka show. There's other stars in there, like your Parties and your Ramsdales and players like that. Martinelli, Trossard, we've mentioned, Jesus. All these players, they've all got their own individual pluses in that team. But I wouldn't rest Saka at all. I'd play him every game, unless he's coming up to me in training and saying, I need a rest. And let's be real. We've only got 1 game a week now. We ain't in 4 cups. What's going to happen next season when we're in the Champions League second round, when we're in the FA Cup quarter final? I
think it wasn't that big of a deal coming off of an international break, though, Darren. And we had the team. We had the team in the starting 11 that could put Leeds United away. I don't, if he rests him the rest of the season, I'll take issue with it. But today, I mean, we had more than enough. We had more than enough.
Well, not in the first half, we didn't.
That's true. That is true. But we did come around and we got a 4-1 victory without him, or with him in there in the second half. And he really wasn't doing much. I think there was something wrong with him. I think he was tired. So I want to see him every single game the rest of the season, though.
Oh, yeah. I agree. The only thing, I agree everything what you're saying, Darren. I just thought that England, I think if he didn't play the 2 games, and I'm not sure how many did he play the full 90 in both games?
He played both games, full 90 minutes for both games.
Yeah,
almost.
I think Arteta was just wary, but I'm 100% on board with you. He has to play every game now till the end of the season. I don't want to see him resting or any shit like this. We've only 1 game, as you said, Darren, and rightly so. But look.
It's like if you get somebody who's outstanding and sometimes if you go and drop them, it'll piss them off. It'll fucking piss them off. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
and don't forget, he's got 120 million release calls or something.
Peanuts. That's peanuts for him.
That's ridiculous. I'd have said 200 million release calls.
Yeah,
what we do 120. Man City are going to pay that. They've done that for Greeley.
That release clause is an absolute joke.
Come
It's a
here,
disaster.
TJ. I said this when I first heard. I think it was October, November that I heard it that he wanted to put a release clause in his contract. Why? Why do you want to do that? Because no English player, no player in the Premier League, I don't think has it. I may be able to count it on one hand. I'm not technically fucking sitting around the computer in me fucking wipe fronts and just looking at every fucking player's contracts. I have this thing, it's called a fucking life, and I don't go into that much detail. But I'm telling you now, I don't think there's that many players in the Premier League that have release clauses. You know, it happens in Spain. We all know that. But no way. And the 120 million, as you rightly said, Man City, Real Madrid, Bayern, Barca, PSG, peanuts for them. Peanuts. It's nothing. It's a joke. And this is why this is Garlic Head who negotiates these contracts. If he turned around and his agent comes in and says, we want a release clause, you actually just punch him in the nose and tell him to get the fuck out of your office. You know what I mean? No release clause, simple as, we're Arsenal, we're top of the league, we're going for the league, we're going to be next year, we're going to be going for the Champions League, we're going to start improving our squad. It's as simple as that. In the summer, we are going to improve our team. Fuck out the deadwood, and we're going to start bringing in much better players. Simple as that. Negotiations. You just go, do you want to be part of this trip? You came through the Hale End. You're an Arsenal boy. You know what I mean? You sell them that. You don't just go, oh, yeah, okay, here's a release clause. No, fuck off. At the end of the day, Saka is not bigger than Arsenal Football Club, and I don't give a flying fuck what anyone tells me.
So I just want to ask a question here. Now, I'll just so that what I'm saying, I know what I'm saying is right. So release clause, it means if a club comes along and says, here are Arsenal, here's 120 million, the player just goes, does he? And we get 120 million.
There's no negotiation with Arsenal
and that's all there is to it.
That's all.
Yep.
That's all.
That's it.
We done it with Thomas Partey, the 45 million or something like that. We just went 45 million. We don't need to talk to Atletico Madrid. Yeah. We're just talking to his agent. And that's all. And that's why the whole Hale boy and all this bollocks goes out the window. Because his agent is a fucking leech. We all know agents just want money. They don't give a fuck that he's from London or wherever the fuck. They don't care about Arsenal. They just want money. If he signs for Real or Barca or whoever, he gets a percentage of that fee, of the 120 million, which will probably be about 2, 3, 4, 5 million quid.
Well, that's gone in about 2 seasons' time then, because with inflation, right, footballing transfers are always going to be going up. And at the moment, the outstanding fee for any world-class player is about 100 million. Yeah. So I can't see Saka being with us for beyond another 2 seasons now. Then.
Yeah, I agree 100% because let's all look. Jack Grealish, Man City bought him for 100 million. Saka is worth more than that, and as you're saying, inflation and stuff like that, it should have been a minimum of 180 to 200 million should have been put into that.
Yeah, 250 minimum.
Minimum. Look, it shouldn't have even been put in. It's ridiculous. It's an absolute disgrace. And this is why even TJ, you were saying that there that the 3 players we just mentioned off the top fell into Edu's hand: Trossard, Jesus, Zinchenko. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, guys. If we're going to act like a big club, Saka and his agent come into the office, we want a release clause. Get the fuck out of the office. It's simple as that. You know what I mean? Don't come in with that shit straight away because we're rejecting that 110%. Because fans like us here will not accept that. You know what I mean? It winds me up. I'm sorry. These negotiations you're telling me in about 2 seasons' time, and as Darren even says, inflation. He should be going for about 200 million. You know what I mean? Mbappe is going to be worth about 200 million. I'm not saying Saka is better than Mbappe, but by Jesus, he's not far off him. If he continues and has another 1 or 2 seasons like that, he is going to be going for he'd be nominated at least for a Ballon d'Or.
Well, Tony Adams has just said he's the best player in the world. And whilst some of us would say, hang on a minute, and your brain starts thinking, who else is there? He said it, hasn't he?
Yeah, but in world football, Darren, how much are we we're talking about Mbappe? How much would he be going to Real Madrid if they tried to sign him in the morning? You're talking about 200, 250. Yeah. Easy. And next thing you Real Madrid will just go, well, why will we go for Mbappe when we can get Saka for half the money?
Yeah.
No brainer. You know, Warren, actually, just I want to change topic on you and go back about the Kieran Tierney thing. And it's just something I was thinking there as you were talking. This Kiora guy, for me, he's Tierney's replacement. Tierney's gone in the summer, and I think he's his replacement.
If I was a left back, I wouldn't touch Arsenal with a barge pole. That's my answer to that. Because if you're a left back, if the best left back in the planet cannot get a game at Arsenal because of the nonsense that's going on with the tactics at this club, then what chance has that lad got that you've just mentioned? I don't care who it is, right? The fella, whoever comes in after Kieran Tierney as a left back will have their career destroyed because they won't get a game. He will not play him because he doesn't want to have a left back. That whole left side of our pitch is an open bloody invitation to anyone to attack us. It is, and if we play like that at Anfield, at the Etihad, we will get ripped to shreds. Man City took Liverpool to the cleaners in one half this afternoon. When we go there, they're going to be like that for the whole fucking game. Honestly, mate, I'm really worried about that game at the Etihad because I think it could get embarrassing.
We're going to get smashed at the Etihad. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah,
I can say with confidence, we are going to get ripped to shreds at the Etihad with Rob Holding.
I can see another 8-2 minimum incoming.
I think I'm predicting 4s and 5s away.
Yeah, well, mate, I could see 6s and 7s and 8s because once it goes past 5, then the heads will go. Do you know? Because it's a young team and they wouldn't have experienced something like that before, and they won't know how to cope with it, and they will get absolutely ripped to shreds. And it'll be because there'll be no one on that left-hand side. And all they need to do is just pump a long ball over the midfield into the left-hand channel of our defence, and we're in trouble.
And Rodri gets away with murder. He should have been sent off today, right? And the referees just leave him alone. And he's a big lump. He can kick people. He might get a yellow if he's unlucky. And then when he should get a red, the referee bottles it and doesn't send him off. So how do you counter that? All we've got is Thomas Partey going up against him, which is sort of a level playing field, but not when the referee ain't going to send the homeboy off. You know,
he's not. He's not. And honestly, I'm really concerned about that game because I think that they're gonna score a lot because they won't. Man City, then some other clubs, they will just, when they're 3-4 in front, they will just ease up. They won't. They will just keep going and keep going and keep going because at this stage of the season, you know, when it comes down to it, it might actually come down to the goal difference. So he's going to go and tell them if they're 3 or 4 up, he's going to want them to get 5 and 6 and 7. Do you know what I mean? Because I think they could do it to us because we're so imbalanced. That left-hand side is a major issue. And the only one I think that so far has worked it out was Sean Dyche. Because you said, Del Boy, didn't he, when you went to the Emirates, that they kept going down our left-hand side all the time.
Yep. All the time.
I think they did it at Goodison Park as well. They kept going down our left-hand side.
It's Warren, it's just like, you know, if you find a weakness in your enemy, you're going to keep just prodding away at it. And eventually, you know, something is going to happen on that left-hand side. There's going to be 1 or 2 players out of position from the transition of, let's say, a counter-attack. You know what I mean? And, you know, I think City, like, I don't know if you guys had seen the interview with Arteta. I could have been on Sky or something like that. And they asked him about that left-hand side. And they said, to Arteta, did you sort of invent that style of play, or where did you get it from? And he basically says Pep Guardiola told him. So if Pep, masterminded this, he knows how to contradict it, if you know what I mean. He'll know how to attack against it. So I'm thinking that Arteta is going to have to change that for the Man City game.
He can't.
He can't. Yeah, I know.
He can't. He hasn't got a plan B. He's only got one style, and that's press, attack, and all this. Right? What Arteta needs to be able to do, he should have now a big 6'3" centre forward, where he can say, right, we can't go and attack Man City and beat them at their own game, because they are going to pick us off. They are going to beat us. They've got two wide men in Mahrez and Grealish that is just as good as Martinelli and Saka straight away. So there you go. So that's how any threat we've got there is blown out, right? And what he should be thinking is, right, we'll go there and do a Champions League type tactical, strategic surprise on them, put people behind the ball and look to do them on set pieces, frustrate them for about 60 or 70 minutes, then put someone on with a bit of speed, then put a high ball in the box to someone who's big, who can get on the end of a set piece, then shut up shop, win 1-0 and come away with 3 points from the Etihad and then start celebrating on Holloway Road. But no, Arteta hasn't got that. Edu and Arteta and the whole board and all of them, they all laud him and think he's all great because we press and do all this low block and all this breaking the lines, all this nonsense. But the bottom line is, if you ain't got a plan B, then you're going to struggle. And it's probably why Man City ain't going to win the Champions League, because they ain't got a big target man up front either. And they ain't got a plan B. You watch Bayern Munich knock Man City out of cup Champions League shortly. We've got. I don't think we've got any chance of it. We might get away with something at Anfield. We might. But see, Man City have shown today they can go a goal down. They controlled that game for 90 minutes. They went 1 goal down because Liverpool got them on the counter with Salah, which was a great goal. But look what they did then. They come back and just smashed 4 goals. Boom. They just, as you say, they just keep coming again and again and again. They got the experience. They're the machine. And it's so sad to see all these deluded Arsenal fans all jumping up and down now, thinking we've won the league and all this. Forget it. It's not happening.
Like just as Hendon says there, like look at them games: Liverpool away, Newcastle away, City away, Chelsea at home, Brighton at home. They're hard games. I don't care what anyone says. They're cup finals. You know what I mean? I just want to come back to what Luke James is saying here, and I want Manny. I just want you to sort of answer this. What is Saka's biggest strengths?
Ooh, good question. Good question. I mean, I think Darren pretty much touched on one of his strengths over there, basically saying that he was extremely durable. I think in the words of the famous song, you shoot him down, he gets back up, he's titanium. And I put that in the chat. TJ, you know that song, don't you, brother? And
come on.
Yeah. And I suppose that's one thing you could say about him. I think another thing as well is that, for a guy who started out playing as more of a left wing back, and certainly as a left winger, how he's been able to adapt to playing on the right is wonderful. He's certainly 2-footed, and he has some wonderful visionary skills. You could say in many ways, although Ryan Giggs was incorrigibly left-footed, he had so many of the qualities that Giggs had that made him such a hit at Manchester United at a very young age. He certainly reminds us of a young Rocky Rocastle with his dribbling skills as well. I just think it's his footballing intellect, his touch and feel for the game, and it's as if it's all that silky skill which seems to be enveloped in some really hard, tough granite, if you will. Certainly, our successor to Rocky Rocastle, in my opinion, and I think, as Darren would say, there is a temptation to play him in every game. I suppose the issue is, yes, now that we do have a game a week, I do take Darren's point that we should, look to try and play him every week, because now he's going to have plenty of time to rest and recover in between games, unlike at other clubs where they are still in the cups or in Europe or whatever. I just don't want to have a situation where too much is expected of him. And I'm just happy that Ben White has improved as a right back, because if it weren't for his ability to overlap, Saka would have been overworked, having to track back as well, don't forget. So I'm just happy that White has improved and Saka's been allowed to just get back to his usual self and play a lot better. So it's his footballing intellect, his feel for the game. I think those are two of his strong points for me. But again, you just never know what can happen with an injury, and I guess we just have to be a little bit careful as well, and make sure that we do give him a little bit of rest whenever we can, if and when the situation demands it.
TJ, when we were just saying there, and I suppose Darren even just says we don't have a plan B, but I just want to go to Unique's point here. This is against Man City. The way Pep will know the way that we play inside out, and we all know he does. And Unique is saying he'd play Tierney at left back and pack the midfield against Man City. So obviously he's saying push Zinchenko, Partey, Xhaka in there, and Odegaard then on front of them. Would you agree with that, or are you just we have to just roll with our game that we have, the plan we have?
First of all, big up Unique. You're coming with the great questions today. I would love to see Tierney at left back against Man City. I think that he's just a little bit more solid than Zinchenko is in that fullback position. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see that. I just think this Man City team has way too much offensive strength for Zinchenko to handle. So I would obviously put Tierney back there. We're in trouble when we get up against Man City, and if we scratch a result against them, it will be curtains. But I agree that Tierney should start that game. I think that he's just far better on the defensive side than Zinchenko is. I mean, you got to give Zinchenko his flowers. He does contribute offensively, but he's a midfielder. He's not a defender. He's a midfielder that plays left back because Arteta wants him to do the inverted midfield thing. So, honestly, if I had my way, it would be Tierney at left, Gabriel, put Saliba in a back brace and put him there before Rob Holding. But it's going to be Rob Holding, unfortunately, and then Ben White at right. And we'll see where it goes from there. I honestly wouldn't mind, just to kind of wrap up my point, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Zinchenko on the bench for that game. I think that our team, especially the way we conducted ourselves when we lost to them earlier in the season, was embarrassing. We were playing patty cake with their players in the tunnel. Odegaard was being buddy with Holland. Zinchenko was saying hi to his buddies. And Jesus was injured, but God knows what he would have been doing with them. This is war, guys. This is it. That game at the Etihad will determine if we win this trophy or not. I don't want to see any patty cake. I don't want to see any friends.
And this could be when Arteta, if he's a proper manager, will convey the message TJ Warren you've exactly just said, and said to the players, let's get up there and wind them up.
Yep, exactly.
Let's get up there and
get in their heads.
Giving them verbals. Let's get up there and start putting the tackles in. All right, don't get sent off.
Yeah.
But and that can be enough. That can be the difference.
Put the light bulbs away, and I would say, hey, do you guys want to be legends?
Yeah.
Go out there and fucking die on that field. No friends.
And
no
friends being losers,
Like even Darren, you said you seen the game early on, the Man City Liverpool. I seen it as well, and when one of the goals went in for Man City, it could have been when they went 2-1 up or something like that. The camera went to Haaland in the crowd, and he was beside his friend. He nearly fucked his friend down a flight of stairs. He was so happy.
Yeah. That was the Alvarez goal. It was the first one when they drew 1-1.
That's how much this means to him. Okay. So don't be there giving me fucking hugs and kisses on the fucking tunnel and shit like that. Because if that was me, and trust me, I've been there before. I had a bet with my mate, okay, that I'd buy him a Man United jersey if I scored more than 5 goals against him, and he was a defender, And if he defends that, vice versa, he'd buy me an Arsenal jersey or whatever. I split me head open. He was my best mate. He still is. I split me fucking head open, right? Ran to the car, had a fucking forced aid kit, bandaged it up. I was like Terry Butcher. I swear to God. I ran back on the field and I lost. I scored 4 goals. But look, I fucking tried. But this is exactly, TJ, what you're saying, mate. It's war. It's about who wants a Premier League trophy? Who wants your Premier League medal? You know what I mean? Oh, do you know what, Haaland, he deserves it? Fuck off. You know what I mean? He wants this. You know what I mean? He will drive that team in the dressing room. He will drive this team. And they have the experience. They have the talent to do this. We just have to forget all this bullshit and go for it.
Agreed.
There was sorry, Darren, I just wanted to say this to you. Jamino made a great point here, and I seen you shaking your head. Park the double-decker bus v City, and the crowd, the midfield and the defence. If we get a draw on the Etihad, then I think we will probably win the league.
Yeah.
What do you say, Darren?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, look at what George Graham did at Anfield, right? He played like a 5-3-2. He had 5 at the back, Steve Bold, Tony Adams, and I think it was David O'Leary. Then he had Dixon and Winterburn out on the left, Kevin Richardson in the middle, and Alan Smith up front was a tall target man. Now, Liverpool, they had like flying wingers. They had Peter Beardsley, John Barnes, and they had Ian Rush up front, who was just like a scoring machine. He'd get 50 goals in a season. So we knew if we'd have gone and opened 4-4-2 against Liverpool, we'd have lost about 5 or 6-2, silly scores. So Graham said, look, let's get a 0-0 by half time. And that's the sort of thing maybe we just need to do for a game. But see, because Arteta hasn't been building that into how we go about our games and our season, if he tries to implement that now at the Etihad this month, it's not going to work because then players aren't used to it. They're just used to one way, the Arteta way, how he does it, plan A, right? So it ain't going to work. So it's too late. You can't do it now. But this is the sort of thing that should have been factored in. And this is why Arteta won't be any good for us as a Champions League manager, because he can't do that. He's not learned it yet. He's still learning his trade. And he's not learned that part of being a manager yet. And Graham he set us up like that. We got a 0-0 at half time. We got the goal, set piece, Winterburn chipped the ball, or Dixon chipped it in, Smith got on the end of it, goal, 1-0. And then the nerves start. So you go 1-0 up like Liverpool did today against Man City after about 20 minutes. There's plenty of time for them to come back. But frustrating for 60 minutes. All of a sudden, in their mindset of them players on the pitch in Man City, they're looking at looking up at the scoreboard thinking, we've only got another half hour now to get a goal. And then if they come away with a draw here, all they've got to do is win the rest of their games and we've lost. They're champions. So they start panicking. And then when you get a bit of panicking, that's when, bang, you can hit them on a counter or from a set piece. But Arteta ain't got that in his repertoire, unfortunately, because it's one way Arteta. It's either my way or the highway, and you get dropped or sold off somewhere else. So that's what needs to happen against Man City. I mean, if we could get an early or a goal up, but look what's happened to Liverpool today. They've played reasonably well in the first half. They got dominated from the first minute by Man City, but they hung in there and got that goal, and it gave them a bit of a chance. They got to half time 1-1, but then straight away after about 3 minutes of the second half, bang, goals go in, and then 2-1 down, then they're up against it, and the heads go down, and then that's the end of it. So I think a bit of variation in tactics, but just I saw someone put in the comments here, we don't want to get sent off and that and why. I think it was Hendon Gooner said that. Yeah, totally get that. But this is where Arteta should have been disciplining these players. And I'll give some credit because Xhaka has learned now how not to get sent off. And that's how he's improved this season. But it's taken him 6 seasons to do it.
Yeah, I think just sort of going back on Hendon's point there, and your own point as well, Darren. It's not only the City game, and I know I'm sort of talking about this, and the comments are talking about this, but the Liverpool game as well. We need to sort of, get over the Liverpool game, because I think it's going to be a big ask. I want to win, obviously, but I think we don't lose that game. That's we must not lose that game, because then we're not far away. Who do we have next? Is it City after that, or I think that's a few games away? But
is it Southampton?
Liverpool. It's Liverpool, then City.
Is it Liverpool City? Yeah. So you don't want to be going into the City game after a loss, And
we've got Southampton on the 21st of April. I'm going to that one.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think City's at the end of the month. Is it not?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got that wrong.
Yeah, no, look, either way, you don't want to get a hiding, because look what they done to Man United, Warren, are you confident going into the Liverpool game, or what are you saying?
Because the thing is, we've got such a poor record there, right? Now, what worries me about this Liverpool game is, one is our record at Anfield, right? And how Klopp is able to manipulate the Anfield crowd and get them hyped up. There was that game a couple of years ago where it was 0-0 for about 20 minutes, and all of a sudden there was some incident on the touchline involving him and Arteta, and Arteta confronted him. Next thing you know, Liverpool were 2-0 up and the game's over, right?
Yeah.
Now, the thing is about that game and the Man City game, I think we're playing Liverpool one week and then the City the next, isn't it? If I'm not wrong.
I'm just looking them up here now. 1 second. Hold on. Okay,
we've got 5 games in April, so we played today. We've got Liverpool next.
Okay, yeah. So here
Chelsea. I think we got Southampton, Chelsea, and then...
No, it's Liverpool, West Ham away. Then we have Southampton. Then Man City.
Okay,
then Chelsea.
Because I was worried that if we had Liverpool and then we had City, right, 1 week, and then the following week it was City. If we lost both of those games on the bounce, then the whole fucking season could just collapse, right? Because if we lose both of those games, I think Arteta is going to have a big job on his hand lifting the team after that, because they're gonna think it's done. That because then City will be in the driving seat. If we lose at Anfield and we lose against City at the Etihad, and Man City have won all their other games up until that point, they will then be in the driving seat, because they would have played their game in hand, and the gap will then be down to 5 points. If they beat us, it will be down to 2 points. And then when we play Liverpool, if we lose that game and then they win, they'll be a point ahead. And then from that, as soon as they get in front, or if they get in front, it's game over, I reckon. I just can't see how we will be able to do anything to stop them. Because
Man City haven't got any difficult games.
There is no way on God's earth that we're winning that game at the Etihad. It's just not happening. They are too good. No, better team all around the park than what we are, and we haven't got the tactical nous to go up there and frustrate them.
But even Warren, if we come out and we are on fire, when Arsenal come out and you just feel, yes, we are going to get something out of this today. It's the whole setting everything up right, telling the players, don't be fucking kissing and hugging in the fucking, when you're coming out on the pitch. I don't want to see anyone looking at any Man City player. If they go to shake your hand, tell them to fuck off. That's what I want to see. And I want to see that Arsenal coming out and bouncing straight away. If it doesn't happen. Warren,
oh boy, this isn't an old firm game. And we haven't got fucking Scott Brown as our captain. That ain't happening, right? We got Martin Odegaard, as our captain, who was shagging the fucking our number 9 in the showers at Colney, right? It ain't fucking happening. He's as weak as they come. He hasn't got the mentality to go out there and start mixing it with them. There's only one player in that team I think has got the mentality to do it, or two. One of them sat on the bench, and the other one I can't stand the fuck, and that's Granit Xhaka. The rest of them haven't got it upstairs to do it.
But Warren, what would you do, mate? What would you do if like, you know, let's say at the Etihad, if we have to play our game plan that we start with, but is there a point, you know, in the game where it's 0-0 or 1-1 or something like that, and it's the 70th minute? Do we then just get the bus and park it and try to soak up? Because if we get a draw at the Etihad, it's game on.
Yeah. Well, if it's 70 minutes gone and by some miracle it is 1-1, because I don't think it will be. I think at that stage it will be 3 or 4 to them. I do, honestly. I know it sounds really negative, but I just cannot see us holding out against that. For a few weeks now, they have been absolutely battering sides all over the place. And they put 4 past Liverpool in about 50 minutes today. Right? And Liverpool have improved a wee bit of late. Not tremendously, but they have. And we go up there with bloody Rob Holding playing a centre-back, and he's got a Mark Haaland. Jesus Christ. It get really bad. Really bad. Honestly, I can see 6s and 7s coming.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Warren. I'm trying to hold on to me hair. Jesus Christ.
The best performance this club has put in my opinion, since Arteta has been here, wasn't even when he was on the bench. It was that game where he was in the stand and they had that AirPod Albert or whatever his name was.
Oh, yeah.
And we lost 2-1 against Man City at home. And we put in a really strong performance. And that was at home, right? And we still lost. So it's not. I just cannot see how we're going to beat them. The best we can hope for is a point. If we somehow manage to fluke a draw up there, but I just cannot see it happening. But the thing is with Pep, right? I do not think that he is tactically a good manager as what people make him out to be. I don't think he's in the same bracket as Ancelotti and some of these other managers like Conte. I know people are going to laugh at me for saying that, but Conte is he's a winner. That's why he lost to shit at Tottenham and walked out, right? But the thing about Pep is he's never, ever won the Champions League other than when he's been at Barca with Lionel Messi. So that tells you, and the players that he's had at Man City, they should have won it at least once or twice since he's been there. And they haven't. So, you have to think, well, why is that? Do you know what I mean? So if we had a decent manager, if we had Don Carlo as our manager, I'd be a lot more confident about it because he would be doing the sorts of things that George Graham would be doing and going up there and putting in a tactical plan to beat them. He'd be sitting down, thinking about it. I can rest assure you, I can tell you right now that Arteta is not thinking about how he's going to beat Pep. It will just go out with the same plan he does week in, week out. He's not going to come up with something special like George Graham did at Anfield. All right, and putting up newspaper cuttings on the dressing room wall about, men against boys and all this carry on like he did in '89. It's not going to happen because he hasn't got the tactical nous to do it. Or what he will do is he will pull off some absolute madness like he did in that Europa League semi-final and put in place a tactical plan or tactical way of playing that he's never, ever done before. He went into that Europa League semi-final, trying to play a false nine when he never ever done it before. In probably the biggest game of his fucking career at the club. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what are you doing? And this is the problem with him. He hasn't got the tactical nous to start thinking. If it was me, I would have been thinking about that game at City like 3 or 4 weeks ago, thinking, right, what are we going to do? We need to get a plan in place for that game and start preparing for it now and play in like games using it. Because that's what George did. When he went to Anfield, it wasn't the first time he played with a back five. He'd done it a few games before to get the team used to it. And then all of a sudden at Anfield, he throws it in. Darren, you remember that, don't you?
Yeah.
And, you know, this is the thing about George. He was tactically, he was fucking levels above this guy. Absolutely levels. He was an absolute tactical genius. Nowhere near, and they're going on about him if he wins the league, him getting a statue. Like, for real. Honestly, mate, that would be, the biggest insult to George Graham you could possibly imagine is that fella getting a statue before he does.
You look at when we won the league at Anfield, right? The whistle blew and the game was over. We'd won 2-0. All the players were jumping up and down. George Graham was going, calm down.
Exactly.
Calm down. Do you know why? Because he thought, yes, good, we've won the league today, but we want to go and do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah. And what I'll do is just one worded question from the whole panel here. I just want to answer this because there's a few comments I want to get through. TJ, I'll start with you. Unique's question. Which Arsenal winning team was the strongest? 88, 89, 19, 91, 97, 98, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004. What team are you going for, mate?
The Invincibles, 2003, 2004.
Okay, Mane, what are you going for?
I've made my reply in the chat, and thank you for putting TJ ahead of me. I was busy eating, as you can see.
Yeah, sorry.
And I had the decency to put it on mute so that nobody could hear the ASMR rubbish that was going on. For me, it's actually a tie between the 91 side and the 2002 side. Because this segues back to a wonderful debate, and I believe it was either on your channel or on Warren's channel, I think, where they were talking about how the Invincibles team were lucky to get a large number of draws, which enabled them to stay unbeaten. But that 91 team, which only lost 3-2 at Chelsea because Tony Adams couldn't make it, I think he was either... Was he in jail at the time? I don't remember. Warren, Darren, maybe you remember. Oh, yeah. So the only reason why Arsenal lost 3-2 at Chelsea, that was the only loss, was because Adams wasn't available. But to lose only once that season, to dominate that league and actually beat Liverpool at Highbury on the way, that was the first time I ever watched Arsenal, by the way, 3-0. Wonderful stuff. And we actually made the defending champions look quite ordinary that season. And that, for me, was really Arsenal at their best. But 2002 was also really interesting because we never lost a game away from home. And we scored in every game of that season. So you just think that had those home games gone a little bit differently against Leeds United, Charlton Athletic, and Newcastle, if I'm not wrong, we probably would have, gone the whole season unbeaten then. And we had an outstanding team. Cole was just coming into his own, having replaced Silvinho and Nigel Winterburn. And we had Pires, Wiltord, Lauren doing really well. And, of course, that was also the double-winning season, I would say. Our second double-winning season under Wenger. And there was also a game in that season which really was a stuff of champions game. And I'm sure everyone will remember that. 2002, Arsenal against Aston Villa. Paul Merson came back to Highbury as Villa captain and put Villa ahead. And Steve Stone got the second, and we were 2-0 down at half-time. But then Arsene Wenger brought on Martin Keown and Sylvain Wiltord, and the tide turned. And I believe we scored the winning goal somewhere in the last 10 minutes. It might have been the 84th or the 85th minute. and we went on to win. That is the type of game where we didn't play badly, but ended up going 2-0 down, but still found the resolve to win, and that helped us get the belief to win the title. That game is the stuff of champions. Not going down 2-0 to Bournemouth by the hour mark, including conceding in the first 10 seconds, and then depending on a breathlessly late winner, or having to depend on an Emiliano Martinez own goal against Aston Villa and score an open net against them. That's not stuff of champions. This Villa game that season was the stuff of champions. That team was a terrific team, and that's why it's a tough call between those two, and it's hard to decide. I suppose if I were asked to really pick, I'd have to go based on league form, the 91 team.
Oh, yeah. Darren, what are you going for?
Right, this is really hard. I'm sure all of you agree that. And I was at Anfield 89, so that always holds a bit of a special part. But I'm going to go for 97, 98. And the reason why is we were up again. We done Liverpool at Anfield. They were the dominant team in the late 80s. So then we get to the 90s when Man United sort of crept in with Fergie and they started reeling off titles. And we were up against them. And Wenger, hybrid Wenger I love, Emirates Wenger I don't. So hybrid Wenger basically went in and took on Alex Ferguson. And we'd lost 4 games by November. I remember Steve McManaman out on the wide right, hooking a shot in. We got beat by Blackburn as well, I think it was. And we'd lost 4 by November. And we were hoping to take Man United on. And it's like, what chance have we got? And then we started bringing youngsters in like Nicholas Anelka, like £500,000 signing. And I think a lot of us forget how good he was, Anelka. He was just like a robotic type striker that could always remember his goal in the double with Newcastle, how he trapped that ball in his chest, took it in his stride, got outside the penalty box and just slotted it from just outside the box. So I would say 97, 98. I love them all. 97, 98 is my favourite. And if I can just add one more thing in, and this might be a generational thing, I might be showing my age, but I'm afraid if we win the league this season will be my least favourite of all the titles we've won.
Oh,
amen.
We'll still take the title though. I'll still.
Yeah. Darren,
don't look a gift horse in its mouth, as they say.
Yeah.
Darren, you know you're on Del Boy Gunner TV. I don't give a bollocks. Once we win the fucking thing, I hope we don't hurt your feelings too much.
No, that's all right. I'll be celebrating. But all I'm saying is, this season will be the least favourite of all the titles we've won. That's all.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree because the titles there that we had up, like, they're absolutely phenomenal. I get what you're saying. I'm only joking, by the way.
Yeah.
But Warren, what league? What year are you saying, mate?
For me, it's easy 91.
Yeah.
Because that team was absolutely phenomenal. Except for that one defeat at Chelsea where we lost 2-1 because Tony Adams was in jail.
It was 2-1, not 3-2, Warren.
No, it was 2-1, yeah.
2-1.
Thank you, sir.
Apart from that 2-1 defeat at Chelsea, we would have gone the whole season unbeaten. We also, that season, I think, got to the FA Cup semi-final, if I'm not wrong.
Yes,
so it could have been a real invincible season because I don't know what we did in the League Cup that year. I think we might have had a good run in the League Cup as well. So, but yeah, that team was just relentless. It was just a phenomenal team, and the football we played was just absolutely incredible. We weren't just beating sides; we were absolutely destroying them. And people forget that, and I think George deserves a lot more credit for it. And the thing is, what always sticks in my mind is this interview I saw with Paul Merson, And he got asked who was the best manager that he ever played under at Arsenal. And he said, George, 100%. He said, we wouldn't have won half of what we'd done if it hadn't have been for him. And I agree with him. I just think fucking George Graham, he is just below, for me, Herbert Chapman as Arsenal's greatest ever manager. He is. I mean, Herbert Chapman, he revolutionised Arsenal and made it the club. Well, I was going to say what it is today, but it's a pale shadow of what it used to be. This club, what it was, say, in 2004 when we had the Invincible season. Let's put it like that. When it was still a proper club. So yeah, I think George, like Paul Merson said, we wouldn't have won half of what we did if it hadn't have been for him. He didn't need a process. He didn't need all this bullshit marketing and PR to get the fans on side and whatnot. The man was an absolute legend of a manager. And how he's not got a statue outside the ground, I do not know. I just think it's absolutely disgraceful. You know, we got a CEO throwing money around like it's going out of fashion and paying for players that we didn't need to because we could have had them on a free. And then guy who got done for accepting a few dodgy envelopes can't even get a statue for all the success that he brought the club.
Yeah, but every manager was accepting packages for transfers.
Yeah, exactly.
Every manager.
Exactly. And this is what annoys me about it, Darren. And then, he goes to Europe. He got us to one final one season and wins it. And then the next season, he's responsible for 80% of the success we had the following season, defending the bloody trophy in Europe.
Do you know that final we lost against Zaragoza? I'm still adamant. If Keown hadn't busted his head with Parla on the pitch, I think one of them had to come off. They had a head collision. I think we'd have done Zaragoza and we'd have won that second trophy.
Yeah, exactly. And he would have been the first Arsenal manager in history to win successive European trophies because we've never ever done it. But I still swear and declare that if the Champions League had been in existence in the 30s, we would have won it at least twice under Herbert Chapman. And the reason I say that is because in the early 1930s, the England team had an international hybrid against Italy, right? They won the game 3-2, and seven of the team were Arsenal players. And now Italy at the time were world champions, right? And it was called the Battle of Highbury because it descended into a kicking match. I don't want to say anything derogatory about the Italians or whatnot, but they were well known for being the masters of the dark arts. So,
Warren, that tradition has continued today. Giorgio Chiellini on Bukayo Saka.
But we would have won that Champions League trophy at least twice when Herbert Chapman was there during the 30s, 100%. But it wasn't, and we didn't. So there you go.
And just to answer that question, I suppose for me, the 89 season, I always say it is hugely special for me. Like, you know what I mean? And the 91, I suppose, they're so... Look, come here. Look, we're splitting hairs here, every one of us. Like, you know what I mean? I suppose, look, I like the 91s for me. Would definitely be, because it was the time, the 89, I was so young, I was understanding football and who am I going to support sort of thing, and that cemented the Mickey Thomas goal for me. And then sort of after the World Cup, the 1990 World Cup in Ireland, it was huge, and then I'm just there, lovely, we're going into it, next thing Arsenal are winning, and I was just there, fuck me, this is brilliant. So it was a season that I'll fondly remember, so that would be my my sort of thing. But come here, guys, I'm going to sort of wrap it up here now. So I just want to go around to each one and every one of you and shout out your socials and stuff like that. So Mane, since you're right beside me there, Do you want to shout out your socials, what you have coming up and all that?
Yeah, I will. As usual, you can always catch me here on Del Boy Gunn TV, my first, my last, my everything. Also catch me on S Feetly TV, Oris Talks Football, Coach's Corner with Hanno Trollope, Tony Claude Gunn TV, Danny AFC TV, Up the Cherries in all departments, a Bournemouth fan channel. Shout out to Bournemouth, by the way, for a 2-1 win over Fulham. They're up to 15th now. Love working with those guys. You can catch me on doing some cherry picking with them every now and then, and also on their free-for-all call-in shows, AFC Talk Show TV, and several other podcasts which I've been a part of, which I can't really think of right now. Big up as well to the panel, TJ Warren. Love coming on your streams whenever I can, and I hope to do it again soon. Darren, as always, a pleasure seeing you. Anytime I get to see you on a stream, it's magic. And Warren, let me say, welcome back. I've missed you here, and speaking with you on anything always makes me very happy indeed. And socials, you can catch me on Instagram at MannyThungatheRye1981. Full name, year of birth. Twitter, ThungatheRye1981. Surname and my year of birth. And I always say that when it comes to talking about football, it's not about being tribal in our support for our own team and hatred for other teams. Football is the beautiful game. It's supposed to be a uniter. We're supposed to treat each other with respect and dignity. In light of everything that's happening in the world, life's too short to bear any grudges for any reason. Let's learn to live together as equals or perish together as fools, as I think Martin Luther King said. Maybe not so drastic, but that's the way it sort of goes. Big up once again to the panel. Big up to the chat. Thank you all for joining in. You're the ones who make this video what this is. You make the channel what it is, and it's always wonderful to see you. Enjoy your Sunday. Once again, happy Palm Sunday to all our Catholic friends. I hope you have a wonderful day. And happy Easter next week. Don't do anything that the five of us wouldn't do. And for now, I am out.
Good man, Manny. TJ, you're fucking flying, mate. I'm delighted for you. Please do check TJ's channel out. He's absolutely doing smashing things. And I have to join one day, please. If I'm invited, I may not be. I don't know.
Del, you are 100% invited. I'm sneaking into your DMs daily now. I don't care. We got to get you on the show.
Yeah.
Darren, I've already reached out to you. We're gonna do something next week. We'll go ahead and preview Liverpool together. Please come on. We need to have you on. The American Idiot Show that I host with Dal, aka Oregon Gooner, is absolutely taken off. Please go and check out the video that we did last night with Jez, Deji Spurs, Matt, aka the Southern Gooner. It was a great show. We had a great time, laughs all around. And the thing that I like the best about that show is that we can have opposing fans come on, and the dialogue is always really, really great. So big up my boy Dal for again helping me with that, co-host with the most. And Del Boy, you are welcome on anytime. So my channel is TJ Warren TV. We're gonna be doing some call-in show. I think I'm gonna do a call-in show tomorrow, just around the Prem after tomorrow's matches. So if anybody is up for it, you are more than welcome to come on, call in. Let's have some good conversation. And of course, the weekly American Idiot Show will continue 9 p.m. UK time on Friday. Guests to be determined. And then catch me in about 18 minutes on the Arsenal history and more. We are going to be talking about Leeds United with the legend Jess Collins. So again, Del Boy, thank you again for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Anytime. And look, I haven't been on Twitter or Instagram or anything like that in the last weeks and few days. I've just had a mental march. You know what I mean? It always is that for me. You know what I mean? So, no, I definitely will, TJ, 100%.
Please.
Yeah, I'm going having a few beers tonight. So I'll try and get in there tomorrow. But I could be like, the end of Kyle Walsh beaten when I drink too many Guinness. So,
I hear you.
Yeah, Darren, I'm coming to you, mate. Do you want to share out your socials and anything like that?
Yeah, I've got Darren Sullivan 49 at Insta. I've not really been doing a lot on there recently, but I'm going to try and pick it up a bit more. Just posting a few little funny bits and bobs. I did an April's Fool this morning. How I was declaring my undying admiration for Mikel Arteta, the best manager Arsenal have ever had. And of course, it was before midday, so I captured 4 people 4 people bit on my Facebook profile going, "Oh, you don't normally say that." And one bloke went, "Oh, glad to see you've seen the light, Darren." And then I went, No. April Fool.
Class, absolute class.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
exactly. Warren, what's the story, mate? What do you want to shout out your show and all your channel?
Yeah, my name, obviously, you can find me by doing a search on YouTube for Warren's Team Talk. I always do a Saturday show. Starts at 2:30, and I try and give updates on all the scores up and down the country, across the whole of the United Kingdom. I believe I'm the only one who does it, funnily enough. But yeah, I like to do that. I enjoy it. It's a good bit of banter and a good bit of fun. I'm also doing a show on Tuesday. It's going to be really, really controversial. I'm doing it on Diesel's channel. I do shows about the paranormal on his channel. And the next one I'm doing is going to be about Mars, because there's big links between Mars and planet Earth that a lot of people don't know about. So come and find that. I can see you trying not to laugh, Del Boy.
I'm just thinking, come here. I think I'll be in fucking Mars tonight with the amount of Guinness I'm going to be drinking. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so but there's been a lot of scientific discoveries about Mars and about why it never became a habitable planet like ours has. So come and find out about that, because I'll be talking about that. And there'll be a lot of other stuff I'll be covering as well. And like I say, it's going to be very, very controversial. So be interesting, as it always is. And big thanks and shout out to Diesel for letting me do that for him. And thanks for having me on tonight, Del Boy. I really appreciate it, mate. And I can't wait to this show next week, because I've put in a lot of work on these slides for you, mate. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and look, as Warren was saying, the Saturday shows at 2:30 UK time. I love them. There's fireworks, there's bookings going off, everything. It's all entertainment. You know what I mean? I fucking love it, seriously. But yeah, I forgot about your show on Tuesday, so I'm gonna probably do my that show that we're talking about there, probably on Thursday evening. So if you're around, jump in. You'll see Del Boy losing the plot. Trust me. I'll have to be calm, right? Calm down, Del. Meditate and all this shit. But anyway,
let me just say, Del Boy, if that fucker had anything to do with Scotland or with Arsenal Football Club, then I would be in prison.
Yeah.
I would be in prison, because I would have committed a murder by now. That fella, what I've seen is absolutely disgusting. And I'm telling you, when Arsenal, when this Arteta nonsense starts going tits up, as it will, I can see them pulling out some of the stunts that they did with him. People going to the ground with fucking drums and instructed to start playing them when any negative chanting about him started. It's unreal.
Oh, I know. Look, just join in on Thursday. That's all I'll say. And come here, I done a vlog yesterday evening. If you get a few minutes, just check it out. Please do. And just throw out a like, and I really do appreciate it. Also, as I says, I'll be doing a show on Thursday night, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to try and get onto TJ's show and stuff like that. So, like, even just drop them in. Warren or TJ, if you don't see me answering them, it's just I'm fucking busy and stuff like that.
No worries, brother. No worries at all.
I will probably just drop in one of the days. But thanks a million, everyone, for dropping stuff in, comments into the chat. I really do appreciate, and subscribing and all that stuff. Really do appreciate. I'm trying to grow the channel and everything like that. You know where to find me after every game and all that stuff. And thanks to the panel tonight. Without you guys, this show would be absolutely shit. So thanks a million. Look, everyone, I have to go now. Shit, shower, shave. Get ready for a few pints of Guinness. I'm going to hit the town and I'm going to fucking run amok. So hopefully not too bad. But I hope the Kyle Walsh is behaving himself as well this evening. Like, don't worry, I won't be down in Wexford. I'll be staying very far away from that. But thanks a million to everyone. Arsenal winning today. We're going on and on and on. Let's hope we get a good victory out of the Liverpool game. If you like the fan cam reactions, we'll be there to dissect the game after the Liverpool result. Thanks a million, everyone, again. Take care. God bless you all. And come on, the Arsenal. Go on.